Tonight's topic will be operating in the courts of heaven. This is slightly difficult, actually, topic to teach. And some of you may find it controversial because it is something, it's something really we have not been aware of. This is real and the highest form of intercession. And we should consider ourselves very privileged and also assume a great responsibility because of this. So, operating in the courts of heaven, there are many courts in heaven. There is not one. There are many, many courts in heaven. There are courts for personal use. There are courts for the nation. There are courts for businesses. Whom of you have been to the court here? Sino sa inyo nakakadto sa korte? When you go to the court, hindi ba lain-lain, there's a family court, may RTC, Regional Trial Court, and you cannot just go inside, Even if you're a lawyer, you cannot just go inside the court without any preparations. So, the earthly kind of court followed the pattern of the heavenly kind of court. We also cannot go up to the courts of heaven if we are not prepared. It's not a matter of just saying, Lord, gusto man ko magsaka, that Lord. No, it's not that. In fact, it's not even saying that you are really going up, because the courts can go down. Where you are in the spirit, you can do that. I have read so many resource books. Halin pa ni end of November ang research namo ni Lyndon, and I've read so many research book, and all of them agree that it's not saying that all of us really have to go up to heaven. Because in the spirit while praying, the courts can go down. Okay? So, keep an open mind and an open heart with the lesson. I'm going to lay the principles, the basics tonight. Next Tuesday, we're going to go deeper para maintindihan nyo. Okay. Why does heaven sometimes remain silent when we pray? Sometimes we pray desperate prayers, right? Right? Yes. Sometimes we think that God does not listen to our prayers. Or we ask ourselves, where does our prayer goes? The answer is found in where the spiritual activity called prayer is actually taking place. Prayer is where we insert ourselves into a spiritual conflict. Prayer, by the way, is not all spiritual warfare. Naanad ta magsiling, when we pray, automatically we go to war. It's not. No, it's not. It is not even asking or petitioning of God for some things. When we pray, we engage the Lord Himself. We call Him Abba, we call Him Father. So when we pray, we engage the Father Himself. But we are also, remember this, engaging powers of darkness that wants to resist us in our prayer activity. It's not all spiritual warfare, but there is spiritual warfare. The battle is there. Okay, look at the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verses 12 to 14. Then he said to me, do not be afraid, Daniel, because since the first day that you determined to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words have been heard and have come because of what you said. It's very important, pamatiin nyo, I have come because of what you said. Words are important when we pray. The prince of the kingdom of Persia prevented me from coming for 21 days. But Michael, one of the chief princes, came to assist me so that I was no longer needed there with the kings of Persia. So I have come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the Akarit Hayamim, or the later days, for there is still another vision which will relate to those days. So Daniel faced the angel. The prayer of Daniel, as the angel told him, engaged God, but it also called the attention of the devil and his forces. His prayer stirred heaven, but it also stirred up hell. That is how you know when your prayers are effective, because it's not only heaven that will listen to your prayer. Hell is all ears to your prayer. When we pray, we are entering a conflict. We are moving the powers of heaven for God's kingdom will to be done, but we are also engaging the forces of darkness that are resisting that will from being done. This is the power of our words that are directed towards the Lord. Look at 1 Corinthians 9 verse 26. It says, "Accordingly, I do not run aimlessly, but straight for the finish line. I do not shadow box, but I try to make every punch count." In other words, when we pray, it's not a matter of just pagusto lang tayo with our words. We just keep on blabbing there to the Lord. It's not. Remember, prayers are recorded in heaven. That's why when we pray, gasiling siya, do not shadow box. You know what shadow boxing is? Sa hangin ka lang balaga sumbag. So our prayer should be directed to heaven. Okay. The protocol of a battlefield, spiritual warfare, will not work in a courtroom. No? You cannot go to the court here, kag maniro kada, umadala kada imo ya sang trumpet ya, hindi na pwede, hindi bala? Masiling ka nga, mablow ko anay sang syupar, kaya amo nito sa nihap, ay, dakpon ka imo ya sang pulis da, hindi na pwede. No, there are protocols in the courtroom as there are protocols in the courtroom of heaven. We must discover where we are in prayer if we want to be effective. When we come to the courtroom and when we learn to function there, verdicts come out of the realms of God's throne that put in place the cry of our hearts. That's why, if you have been to court, paraya sa akon, the most important thing, you have a good lawyer. No? Very important to have a good lawyer. Why? Because the lawyer is the one assigned to talk to the judge, not you. Hindi ka imo yung magwakal kung why ka ginatawag sa judge. It is the lawyer. So we should understand this. We must know how to be part of the legal process of heaven that grants God the legal right to fulfill His passion on our behalf and in the earth. Tonight, we're going to hear a lot of legal process, legal rights, because that is what is needed to go up to the courts of heaven. The court of heaven or the courts of heaven are places where the legal proceedings of heaven are carried out. Cases are brought before a judge. Witnesses testify. And rulings are handed down. So masiling ka, if I will go up to the courts of heaven, who are my witnesses? Your witnesses are your life. Your witnesses are the sins you have committed against God. Your witness is the devil. He will accuse you in the courts of heaven. The concept of justice, law, courts, and legal proceedings are all in heaven before it was copied down here on earth. Look at Psalm 82. Look at Psalm 82. Elohim stands in the divine assembly. There, with the Elohim judges, he judges. There with the Elohim, he judges. Verse 8 says, "Rise up, Elohim, and judge the earth, for all the nations are yours." If you're reading the book of Psalms especially, and some parts of the Old Testament, maybe you have passed through it. We're not aware when you are reading, but there are many, many passages that talks about judging and courts. Many. No? In my research, nakibot ko damo gid siya gali. No? Damo gid. No? Look at 1 John chapter 2 verse 1. My little children, I am writing these things to you so that you may not sin. And if anyone sins, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous. What is an advocate? An advocate is a lawyer. He is the one who defends you. Zechariah chapter 3 verse 1. Then he showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to accuse him. I don't know if you're familiar with the story of Zechariah. The story of Zechariah and the high priest Joshua. The angels had to remove his dirty linens, dirty clothes, and gave him new clothes. It's all done in the Spirit because he cannot face the courts of heaven with soiled clothes. May dress code to go up to the courts of heaven. You cannot come nga gachinilas lang. Cannot be. You are facing the supreme judge of all judges. Medyo may protocol na. That the same way, lantawa bala, when you are a lawyer and you go to the courts, ara si Ann, pwede ka chinilas lang, si Lindon? Hindi. No, you are asked to wear barong gani. May protocol na da. So, in 1 John and in the book of Zechariah, it is clear from these verses that Satan and his company of evil spirits have access to a court of heaven where they can accuse us. They are allowed to go up in the court of heaven. And through these accusations, they can torment us. Would we not expect God to allow us access to the same court? If the devil have access to the courts of heaven, how about us, the beloved of the Lord? As children of God, we have all authority given to appear in His courts. Prayer, is an activity that takes place in the courtroom of heaven. You bring your prayer there. There will be petitions, there will be accusations, there will be arguments, and you present your evidence. That's why when you go to the courts, you have to be ready. Hindi na kasiling you just tell yourself, Lord, masaka ko da, Lord, kay may i-prayer ko, kag may idipinsahan ko. No. It takes days and weeks. It takes days and weeks. No? The author, the principal author of this research, Robert Henderson, so he had a very, very nice sharing about going up to the courts. He prayed for Germany. They prayed for Germany many years, he said, of prayer. Then they realized that the legal right of Germany, you know the history, kabalo ka mo sang history of Germany, I'm sure you have heard what happened in the Holocaust. In one of their prayer meetings, while they were praying and asking the Lord to go up to the courts of heaven, the seers that were with him, that's why it is important to have seers in the courts of heaven, told him that the papers, first na bala kung may kaso ka, may papilis ka, the papers for the country of Germany has been intercepted by the evil one. So they have to get it. So court battle. Court battle in heaven. They fought for it. May mga kwan sila, may mga evidence, may arguments sila with the Lord. Why? Why the Lord should not give Germany to the evil one? Perti nga battle. But ultimately, they won.